What's happening, everybody? Y'all doing all right today, guys? We're back with another Buck Junkie Podcast. What's going on?
We went from hoodies last week to T-shirt and shorts this week.
This weather does not know what it wants to do, does it?
Leaves are falling. That's the only good thing.
It was supposed to be. It was what?
Keep you sick.
Oh, man, dude, my sinuses and junk. I don't know if I'm coughing, sneezing, or what.
We're going to have to put rolls of toilet paper or Kleenexes in all the stands. Multiple purpose. This will blow your nose.
Multi-purpose.
All-purpose paper.
No, if we probably stop this podcast, I know I'm going to be hacking. I've been hacking for 2 days now. We have got back to 80 degrees. Today's supposed to set a record, but, the sun's trying to pop out, but it was pretty cloudy. Another chance of rain earlier.
Yeah. We got a chance of rain later on in the week, too, so it's supposed to get back down cool again for a few days anyway.
So what are we trying to do since we know we got everybody in Mississippi's hurting on food plots? Like everything I see, people posting on Facebook, making videos.
You know who ain't? Ours ain't hurting.
Some of them are, though, yeah.
They don't look bad, though.
So we went from those high temperatures last week, and then it dropped out, and we had 3 days of frost. We finally got our
Heavy
hard frost. Yeah, I haven't been out there. I haven't been checked the plots. Did y'all ride out there?
Yeah.
What's the verdict on how things are looking after that rain and frost event?
We got some brownage.
Yeah, like all that growing wall that was so green and lush, it's browned up. I mean,
fast?
Oh yeah, it's dead as a doornail. Now it's still up, stalked up, but it's up. It looks like a cornfield. What it looks like now. It looks like dried corn. And that's what we wanted.
That's what we wanted. Yeah, we planned for that. So
it's still thick, even though it's not green.
Yeah,
some of it's laid over in the big South Trump field. Some of it's laid over, but it's still standing up and looks good.
Are you thinking we're going to have to, since it grew so well this year, is it going to have to be trimmed or knocked down? Or
we got one, not
Plantation.
Anywhere down there. Yeah, plantation is okay. Me and Jamie looked at it, and I mean it's all right. I mean, I'm sorry, South Trump. Yeah, plantation. We're probably gonna have to knock that one wall down. It's like straight across. I think we'd probably have to lay it down or do something with it. But
it's still cab high in the tractor. I mean, I was in tractor last week. You couldn't see across it.
I didn't know when they said growing a wall, and we planted it last year. It didn't get that tall last year. I don't know if it's because it was more drought last year or what the deal was, but
yeah, it did really well this year.
Maybe the lime and fertilizer helps. I mean,
I think
soil's getting better.
I think our soil's getting better. We've been working on that soil for several years now. So I mean, just every little bit of fertilizer and lime we put down, now it's starting to take hold and get right. So we're getting the most out of our plants now.
So is all the vetch burn up at this point after that frost?
Yeah, it's dead.
We should have just fall plants out there now.
So we got turnip greens galore, and
turnip greens looking good?
They look good. They look good. And then the grains we put in, you can tell that the deer out there getting I don't know why they get those radishes first. They want them for some reason.
Must be sweet.
I guess so, but when them radishes start popping up, the last time I was down here, I could see radishes in several different places, and you got to really look for them now. So they've been nipping them off, getting them. But they're just eating the green tops. They hadn't made no radish or anything like that. But the wheat looks good. It just looks a little puny just from no rain. And we did fertilize a little bit. Some of them, they look really good.
Could you tell a difference in the plots that got fertilized before that frost versus the ones that didn't?
I'd have to.
We kind of just passed by.
Yeah, we just passed by them. Wayland Stand was the only one I fertilized. No, Wayland Stand and the one down in front of the hilltop is the only two that I fertilize, and they look fine right now. Some of the other ones, they just look like they need some water.
Behind a little.
Yeah.
Well, the plan is to hit them with some more fertilizer today when we get through podcasting, right?
Yep.
So as we got rain coming, it'll hopefully help the ground uptake it more.
Yeah, we're going to run and get a fertilizer buggy this afternoon and throw down what we didn't get, our bigger fields that we couldn't use we could have used the side-by-side, but it just took too long, but we're going to grab a fertilizer bug and get it thrown out real quick and give our fingers crossed that 50% chance or whatever it is, 80.
I think it's 50 Thursday and 70 Friday.
We're going to get some rain.
Yeah.
May not be what we need, but
better than nothing. Make it look good at least. Knock the dust back.
But I think we're ready to go. We'll get a few more chairs. We got a new blind we put up or a new stand we put up. We got to get a carpet in it and get a chair in it. And other than that, I think we're ready to go.
You set up that bog blind last week.
Yeah.
It's sitting on a power line, which we had never We had a blind on it during turkey season because we noticed the turkeys were roosting up through there. Never really used it.
Yeah, we had a blind up on top of the hill last year. We went way up on top of the hill down that power line. You don't realize how far of a shot that is from the top of that hill all the way to the bottom of that hill. Sitting there looking at down a power line, you think, well, that might be 200 yards, and then you actually range it. And like last year, I had a buck cross that power line while sitting in that blind, and I got on him, and I was like, I really don't want a chance shooting that far from up here with that 350 Legend.
How far was it?
It was 330 yards.
Oh,
to the bottom of the hill past the pole.
It don't look like it either.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, and that was stretching that 350 Legend a little bit, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So,
would you feel more comfortable if you had Tasco scope mounts on it?
You don't get that started again.
As long as I didn't bump it on the way to the stand.
What's the deal with that? People didn't agree with you.
Yeah, decent.
It don't matter. It's the hunting community. Yeah. They ain't gonna agree with nothing nobody else says.
Well, what's your favorite scope mount?
It depends. I've been running on my older 260, which is not a heavy recoiling gun. I ran them Warren 2-piece mounts, or I say 2-piece. They were 2 halves. The rings and the bases were 1 piece. Yeah. And they clamped side to side. Man, they done really well. On my 28 Nosler
one. Did you ever use one of those?
I had them on my 35 Wayland, and they seemed to do good. Well, I guess they did. I couldn't keep a scope on it.
What are you talking about, the DNZs?
Yeah, the DNZs.
Solid. It's a 1-piece mount.
Like all billet aluminum. That's what's on my daughter's gun. That's what's on my, I think it's on my, not 350 Legend, 35 Wayland. That's on it also.
I never had much luck out of 35 Wayland because it kept breaking scopes, or if it didn't break scopes, it'd break mounts. So ended up on my 28 Nosler. After seeing we built that little 308 for you, I put the nice Night Force mounts on it, and I really like them. Now, you pay for them.
Yeah, they're expensive mounts.
They got bigger hardware. You can actually torque the bolts on them, and, I mean, they stay good. So
I've got a gun that I've had for 20-something years. It's got Leopold scope mounts on it.
That's a good mount.
They're pretty solid. That gun barely, I don't think I'd had to really drop it to knock it off.
Yeah, my short mag, that's what's on it. And other than, only adjustments I've ever done has been if I change bullet name brand to bullet weight, but as far as just year to year, it's pretty much been on for.
Scope ain't moving.
No.
I think a lot of it goes back to the recoil of the gun. If you're shooting a 30-30, yeah, some Weaver or Tasco mounts, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have much recoil, much abuse. You strap that on 35 Wayland or a 300 Win Mag or anything like that, you better have some mounts that's going to hold it. And, the worst thing, what broke me of shooting out of a lead sled was that. Is I was shooting at 35 Wayland. I broke 2 Nikon scopes back to back.
Was it strapped down in the sled?
No, I had the sled was weighted.
Yeah.
And the gun was in the sled, and I talked to Nikon. They said, "What are you shooting out of?" I said, "A lead sled." He's like, "That's what's doing it." He said that recoil has to go somewhere, and it's going out through the scope.
So you did have the butt of the gun wasn't on your shoulder. It was in the sled.
It was in the sled.
So yeah.
Yeah. The one we got, that's how it does. You can either do a sandbag on, or to weight it, or you can do, and the butt does go in the.
So ever since then, I've been shooting off a bipod or sandbag, one of the two, to let the gun move, because that gun is designed to move. It is not designed to sit still. So
when you're locking that force down, it's
got to go somewhere.
It's got to give. Yeah.
It's going to the weakest point. That's what's happening.
I blew a lens out of one scope, blew the crosshairs out of one, and then the third one was what was that one scope I had? A Minox.
Yeah, I think so.
It was the only one that held up. And I liked that scope. That's
a Bass Pro name brand, maybe?
I think they use one of them high dollar, like it's the same glass company that makes like Swarovski or something like that. But
it's like a Japanese glass or something.
Yeah, it was a good scope. I liked it. But it all depends on your gun, what you want to do.
I'm still dragging. I still hadn't shot mine yet.
No,
you better get it out.
I got to this weekend.
Barbecues kept us so busy, man.
Yeah.
We just got home, unloaded, and loaded back up again, and head back out again. So we're
ready for a break.
Last weekend, so we're done after that.
Well, we didn't get to youth hunt last weekend. Shell got me to go down to Starkville with her to the ball game. So
I heard it was a real good one.
It was a good game, a good day for Ole Miss and beating Texas A&M. But
it was a good
wasn't too good.
game.
Wasn't too good a game for the Bulldogs in Starkville.
No. Kentucky put a whooping on them. Never would have thought that, but I guess Kentucky's on point this year.
What about you, Mikey? Did you get to go hunting last weekend?
I didn't. I went camping.
Oh, you went camping?
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually camp. I just showed up.
Hung out.
He showed up to camp.
Showed up. Yeah, had a few drinks cooked.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Did y'all cook anything good?
Yeah, we cooked shrimp and crab legs.
Oh, man, that's a way to kick off some hunting season right there.
Yeah, that was. I'd been craving that. I love crawfish season. And by the time the end of crawfish season, I'm tired of them. And then 2 months later, I'm like, gosh, dang, I wish we had them things all year long. So, I revert to the shrimp and the crab legs. Just put them in a bowl and boil them like you do
You
your
may have
crawfish.
to put that on the menu one weekend and hunting
Ain't
season rolls
nothing wrong
around.
with that. I love that.
We can
I don't know
do
the
that.
deer smell it on you when you get to the stand after you've been standing
Cover
over that
scent,
pot all
man.
night. Yeah, that's a good cover scent there.
I tell you,
Clove and pepper.
I got proved wrong me and Jamie both got proved wrong last weekend. I am not a crappie fan. Yeah, I've told y'all this before. I'd much rather eat a catfish fillet any day than a crappie.
I would.
And it's my wife's cousin, Chris Horton. They come up and cook that contest with us, and he brought over a big old pan full of some crappie cut up, and it was cut up into like big nuggets and fried. And it was fried with cornmeal, and it was a good crispy cornmeal. That's some of the best fish I've ever ate. And
Hands down. He won the crappie recipe, hands down.
yeah, like that crappie there was. Daddy, I love you, but he just beat you. He beat your crappie recipe.
Was it Grenada Lake crappie or where'd he get it?
I don't know where he got it from. They're from down on the coast. They live in Ocean Springs, so they ain't telling. They fish a good bit, so it's no telling where that crappie come
That's
from.
probably, I'd call it white perch down there.
Yeah, that's what he called it.
Yeah,
Was.
Yeah, they don't call it crappie. If you go to Louisiana, it's sockeye.
He just done me dirty. I mean, he come up with I'm talking about a full pan loaded with fillet or cut up fillets. He said, try it. And I got off and got one. I went to get two, and he done flapped aluminum foil back
Oh
down.
no, I unflapped it. I got me a second one.
It was a one bite. It was just a teaser.
Oh, it was
but
good.
Was they
really
cooking
good.
just to eat or was they cooking for a contest?
He
for
just
the-
cooked.
Oh.
Yeah, they was all hanging out, just something to eat on, snack
Yeah.
on.
But he said it was nothing but Louisiana fish meal is what it was. But I've had Louisiana fish meal, and it wasn't.
Here's a different version of what we got in North Mississippi.
But it was good. It was very, very good.
I like some crappie, but it usually don't hold a candle to catfish done right.
Well, like crappie on them thin fillets, a lot of times you can overcook them in a split second.
Yeah.
And everybody, that's what keeps me from eating them is because most of the time it's not hard to overcook. And these were spot on, man. They were good.
Oh yeah, y'all talking about seafood? I'm ready for me a big old pan of catfish and some hush puppies and fish, fries.
We're going to get our seafood fix this weekend.
I had some cobia last night for dinner, and it was dang good.
Cobia?
Yes. You never ate cobia?
Where the heck did you get cobia
man.
from?
Somebody gave it to me. It was in the freezer.
Really?
Shell cooked it up. It was good.
I cooked my last deer backstrap last night, and it was pretty dang good too. It was a donor. Because I didn't shoot nothing last year. Either Mikey and Mark donated it to the.
Don't.
Yeah.
Donated.
We got to look and Mark, you was wanting to cook some last week after the podcast. We went over there and looked in the freezer, and there ain't a lick of backstrap.
There's some
in
duck
there.
in there, and I wasn't going to get the
Yeah.
duck. We're going to save it.
Man, that's got gumbo road all
I
over
know
it.
It's gumbo time, and I ain't cooked one yet this year.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's about gumbo. Well, it don't need to be 80 degrees.
If it gets below 60, we can cook gumbo.
Yeah.
I can eat
ready.
gumbo anytime, man. I love that stuff.
I do too.
I love it.
So what do y'all got planned for the weekend? Y'all know y'all are going down to the coast to Biloxi.
We're going to
cook.
Biloxi. We're going to try
What
to.
about you, Mikey? You got
I don't know. I think I might come down here.
coming to? I'm gonna be here this weekend now.
I might
Michael's
come Friday night and hang out and cook a little bit. And if you're going to take the boys hunting, and
we got 2 youth hunters this weekend, so
I'll hang out for a little while anyways.
we'll probably do a little doe management. They probably won't. Hopefully, they won't get turned loose on the big one. It's gonna be hard not to tell them to if they do.
Yeah, that's
You
hard.
just do like my dad used to do. That was a little too far for you,
A
son.
little too far. Yeah.
That is something on a kid or somebody that hadn't, even an adult that's never hunted or killed very much. It's hard to tell them.
If it gets them
Well,
fired up.
So what do you think? So what do y'all think about that? So you take a kid out hunting and you know you got some big deer around or a potential to kill a trophy buck or trophy. I mean, do you turn them loose on a trophy deer when they're that young and go ahead? Because to me, if you kill one that young, what else you going to hunt for? I mean, they
the
used
thing
to,
is, what's the chance if that prize winning buck, the one y'all got, like say we got one on camera, we all want him. If he comes out, what's the chance of you ever seeing that deer again? Tell that boy to pull that trigger.
yeah, that's what you say.
I mean, granted, I'm gonna be like, dang. Which I mean, as a kid, I ain't gonna hold no feelings against him. But now, if it's your old buddy that bummed something off of you, wants to come down here and just hunt, not do nothing else, and no, you put your gun down. You wait. You ain't earned that one. But a kid, on the other
You
hand,
might shoot a doe, that
Yeah.
situation.
But do you think it ruins a kid to let them kill a trophy animal at first, because I mean, I know Michael's first deal was a spike.
Yeah.
And he was so tickled to death to kill that spike. And he was, he's 14 now. So he don't have many youth years left.
He's done killed a bigger deer than most all of us.
But he has. But he's great. His deal's been, I started him, let's kill a small one, let's kill the next one, let's kill the next one, and then let's go, go after a bigger deer. Now, and he's progressed. But now he learns. He's like, Daddy, I've done killed one that size. I want to kill something bigger. So I let him go up. If there was one he just absolutely wanted to shoot, of course I'm gonna let him shoot it. But he's already learned in the short amount of years he's been. Well, I mean, he's been hunting since he's probably about 7, but he's a kid. And now I let him sit by himself when he wants to, and he's judging deer and he's looking for something that's better than what he shot. I mean, we don't have ton of trophy deers where we are, but we can always try to do a little better.
I mean, I agree with working up. Yeah, you shoot your first, if the first deer to come out is a stud 6-point or stud 8-point, I ain't holding my daughter back to shoot it. But then I also see the point that first deer smaller, well, son, or son or daughter, you didn't kill this, let's wait on something. Let's give that one another year and maybe something bigger come out. But if I couldn't, if it's a 140, 150 inch deer, biggest deer on the property, come out the kid, I couldn't tell him no.
Are you holding deer, like trying to get them to kill a 3.5-year-old deer and a mature deer or whatever for a kid?
Depends on the age and how many deer that kid may have killed. I mean, that's what I think.
Like us growing up, we hunted government land or private land around the house. Yeah, we deer hunted.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for instance, Darren, his sons that grew up hunting Hardin Point and hunting Island, which can be bigger deer. In my mind, it'd be hard for that kid to go from 10,000 acre private to government land, because you're not going to see the same deer on government land that you are on the island. It just ain't going to happen.
I think too, you kind of got to play that by ear. Say you sit in the stand Saturday morning, Michael, and a 2.5-year-old 8-point comes out and he's fired up and shaking and shook off. That's a trophy in my book for him, man. If he gets all over you like that, especially a kid, and if he's that excited about it, fire down on it. Let it go.
I mean, the flip side of that thing is, I heard a guy talking one time that he had went hunting, and he was on some hunting show, but he had went hunting and he had killed this just monster buck. I mean, he was like 10 or 11, 12 years old, something. Daddy stuck him in the stand, and deer, deer
of a lifetime.
Yeah. And he killed that deer. Well, the guy don't hunt no more because he'll never kill that deer again. Right. He's went, and all he's done is sit there, and all the fire was taken out of him because he knows he's never killed a deer.
That's exactly what I was trying to avoid with my son. Was I don't want him to get that mentality where why am I going to get up in the morning? I know I'm not going to kill a bigger deer than I've already got on the wall. Why go?
Well, I think you played that, say that does happen. Then you learn, to me, like, if it was one of us, we've all killed good deer, but we're at the point now to where, like, we enjoy growing, managing the deer just as much as we do hunting. Yeah. And I think that's to me, that's what I gained fond of. Like, I want to go hunting, don't get me wrong, but I'm not near as excited about hunting season as far as the actual sitting in a stand hunting part as I was 15 years ago. I'm more of the fellowship, come down here, camp, hang out, cook some good stuff, make some memories, whatever. So-and-so kills a big deer, great. But I think your mindset changes from, all right, I've killed the biggest deer of my lifetime, to there's more to it than just that big deer. Hey, I love
evolution of hunting.
Yeah. Hey, I love deer meat, so I'm going to shoot some does. I'm finna put some meat in the freezer. But also, you learn more about that animal and more about the sport of the, hunting in general, and kind of the management side of it. It's more to it than just pulling that trigger.
I think your kid, the kid that you have, most of the time you're hunting with your son or your nephew or daughter or whatever, and how that child responds to success. Because like Will, for instance, like Will is one of those kids that when he peaks at something, he gets bored with it.
Yeah.
So like he's been the best soccer player in the city before, and he didn't want to play no more because he hit that pinnacle, and he was just like, well, I don't want to do that no more. And he's not touched a soccer ball since. So but he would start at the bottom and build himself up. But once he reached that, and that's always been real scary with me, is like, if a great big deer comes out here, he knows what a big deer is. If he shot it and would he ever go back again? But I think he's gotten old enough now, he's a grown man now. So he likes coming down here. Like Mark said, he's evolved into deer campers more than just going deer hunting and killing a deer. Mm-hmm. We get to hang out, we get to, have a good time, tell jokes, and get to go see animals that, you're not going to see sitting at home. You're going to get to see stuff that most people ain't gonna get to see, you know. And he's got to see a lot of different things sitting in the stand, you know, from bobcats and coyotes and deer fighting and just a lot of different things, you know. But if you take a young kid, that's their first experience, and he pops that big deer, I mean, I'd be scared to death that he'd never come back again.
I agree. I mean, I think that's what it's important to teach the experience of what hunting is versus just going and trying to kill the biggest animal you can kill.
I think a lot of people disagree with me with this, but if I was taking a young kid hunting that hadn't never killed a deer or something like that, I would not put him on a big deer.
I wouldn't put him on prime location.
I wouldn't put him in that prime location where I've got pictures of that deer, I've got this or I've got that. I would find somewhere where I could, like you done with Michael, you start him out. Same way with Will. I mean, Will's first deer was a spike.
Yeah.
He shot a spike. He shot a little bit bigger buck, and he's built himself up to where he's killed some pretty nice deer now, and he's still interested, and he's still fired up about it.
Well, too, I think, you know, if you have that 8-year-old kid that goes out there, you know, say that big buck walks out, and of course, if I'm sitting in the stand with him, I'm going to be shook. I'm going to be all over it.
Yeah.
And that kid's going to be, and unless I truly thought that child was comfortable enough to make a perfect shot or a good shot on that trophy of a lifetime, that's another thing you have to think about. Because what's worse than, you know, that kid going out there crippling the biggest deer of his life and never seeing it again. So, I mean, if you really sit down and think of it, there's a lot of moving parts and thinking about it. You know,
are you going to snatch that rifle from him and make that shot yourself? That's what I want to know. You
can pull it's a little too far, Mark.
A Bullwinkle walks out. You going to say, let me get that.
But
it's good youth weekend, son.
Again, that goes back to, you know, if you are taking your kid youth hunting, don't let that morning be the first time they shot that rifle all year.
No.
Get that child comfortable shooting that rifle and, you know, eliminate as much area can go wrong for the morning of. You got weeks of advance. You can do all this, you know, so take the time, let the kid get comfortable. And then if the big sad daddy does walk out, put him on the ground.
How many folks you think are just taking the kids so they can go sit and stand there a week early, too early?
A bunch.
I remember when I was a kid, Daddy would take me, we'd go there on Highway 30.
Check-in station.
Yeah, the check-in station. And I remember we'd always go see what other kids killed that morning, you know. And there was this kid, it might have been 5 or 6 years old. I mean, the poor little thing had so much clothes on, he just couldn't walk. He looked like the little boy off Christmas Story, but he was shooting a freaking 7 mag. I mean, and I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, y'all probably seen them in videos. I know I have on, you know, Outdoor Channel or wherever, where it'll be, don't get me wrong, it's great to take a kid hunting. But when you got a young kid and you're putting a gun on a tripod and you're lining it up for them and all they got to do is pull the trigger, are they really learning what hunting is? Or is it's kind of, I mean, it's great that they're out there and doing it, interested and all that. But when you're lining them up on one of these big trophy bucks and, you know, I don't know, there's some gray area in there to me. I mean,
it is.
There's a lot of responsibility involved for both you and you know, the parent and the child.
That's a good statement there, Mark. There's a lot of responsibility. If you're going to take a kid hunting, it's not just about going and shooting something.
No,
it's about learning and enjoying what we do, hunting. You know, getting that passion for it. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, because you think about all the things you've seen sitting in the deer stand. I mean, I've been hunting since I was 10 years old. You know, and started hunting deer when small game at 10, and then when I got to about 11 or 12 when I first went deer hunting, all the things that I've seen in, you know, 40 years, some of those stick in my mind more than the actual deer hunt itself that I've seen. I mean, I've seen black panthers, I've seen bobcats.
Hold on now. We got to hear this. You got to tell us this panther story now. That's a hot topic here. Anybody seen a panther in Mississippi?
Yeah.
Have you seen a panther, Mikey?
I've seen a black panther. Yes.
You put your hand up, swear on it.
I will.
Do you remember? Do you got the story? You can tell us.
Yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday.
All right, let's hear the panther story.
Don't forget those.
So, anyways, I hunted on a long, narrow bean field that it probably wasn't more than 50, 60 yards wide, but it was 3/4 of a mile long, and it was split in the middle by a ditch. So there was a long bean field on one side of the ditch and a long one on the other. And I hunted in the far end where it made a cove at. So I sat in that end and I could see all the way down that bean field. Well, it was one afternoon. I mean, I remember it was bad dry like it is now. I mean, I think it was opening day. Anyways, it was bad dry. It was hot. Right at dark, I looked up and I seen something standing on the edge of the woods. I could tell it wasn't a deer, but you know, I didn't know what it was because it was that cat's head sticking out of the edge of the sage grass right on the edge of the field. And when he walked across that field, I mean, I automatically knew what it was because it was, I don't know, it was bigger than Sadie, and it had a tail that looked like it was 8 foot long, and he was flapping around like a cat as he eased across the field. And the bad thing is, I had to walk out that way.
Same way the Panther
The same
went?
way the Panther come through.
So how far was it from you think? If you
Maybe
had to
100 yards.
100 yards.
Yeah. It was no doubt. It wasn't one of those where it was at the far end of the field, 350, 400 yards down there. It was right there.
Plain as day.
Plain as day.
I've seen 2 cats at the house. I don't know. They wasn't black, but I've seen 2 big cats at the house.
No, I've seen one. I don't know for a fact it was a big cat. Daddy didn't believe me, but it was.
I ain't never seen. I've seen a bunch of souped up bobcats, but I ain't never seen no.
Oh, this right here.
You know what it is.
Oh, this right here was a whole lot bigger than bobcat. It was bigger than the coyote. Had foot and a half.
We're gonna be on what is it? Finding Bigfoot. Everybody gonna think we like that.
If y'all see another one now, take a picture. I want the picture.
I think somebody send it in. What was that going around town?
The black cat behind Wendy's.
Behind Wendy's, yeah.
Man, that's some good Photoshop because that did look like a big old cat in that picture.
Tomcats.
He come creeping out from the dumpster.
Yeah.
They done call game warden and everything.
Oh, that's crazy.
There's no mistaking it when you see it.
Yeah.
They're a very, very large cat. I mean, they're 100 pounds or more. You know, they're pretty good sized cats.
I ain't a fan of it.
No, I don't want to see one.
Yeah,
I ain't scared of much, but I can scared of that. I can tell you that.
Why didn't you take a shot at it?
No, I wasn't shooting that thing.
Why not? You'd have went down in history books.
Yeah, probably under the
first
jail.
Probably been in jail too.
I don't think they're endangered.
Yeah, they're a protected species.
There's no such thing as them, Mikey.
It's a Florida Panther is what they call them.
Now, you think it's just a black Florida Panther?
Yeah.
If it comes down to me,
Jugger's in Eudora, Mississippi now. He a long way from Florida, Mikey.
Yeah. I didn't shoot it. I mean, that was just one of those things. That's somebody had asked me that before, why didn't you shoot the thing? And I was like, well, it wasn't bothering me. I'd never seen it before.
Was you on the ground or in a tree?
No, I was in a tree.
Okay.
No, I was in the tree, but
it don't matter. A cat caught in the tree.
Yeah, he'll come right up there with you.
But I mean, wild animals is my theory is as long as you ain't messing with them, a lot of times they ain't gonna mess with you. So I mean, I didn't have him hemmed up. He just walked across the field. I wasn't gonna kill it just to say I killed that thing.
Think you knew you was there?
Mm-mm.
Only thing I see that I just can't stand it. If I see it, I'm gonna shoot it. That's a coyote. Bobcat, I'll see them. I don't know. Bobcats, I watched a bunch of bobcats, but
coyote or bobcat, I'm getting
they're gone. That's turkey killers.
I'll ruin a freaking deer hunt over a coyote.
I will a bobcat too. Bobcat's a lot harder to hit to me.
Well, maybe that needs to be our game this year. Biggest bobcat or biggest
I got
coyote?
one. I got one come across that camera the other day. Did y'all see him? He said, "Oh, he's dead if he comes back out." He was daylight too. You don't see that's rare. Bobcat's pretty slick.
They're real slick.
Coyotes now they'll come on out, but bobcat's pretty slick. But you've killed 2 down here, or 1 or 2?
I've killed.
Oh, I got one of them stuffed in there.
You got one unmounted. I think I've killed 2 bobcat, maybe 3. I can't remember. That one year I can't remember. I killed 2 in 1 year.
We've been working on the predators here, and I don't know if you ever get the coyotes under control.
No, I kill 2 or 3 coyotes every year.
Yeah.
I killed one last year to come by Mikey.
The one thing I hadn't seen here's a fox, and I don't know if they're just elusive or they're just.
We hadn't seen many. I don't know if we've ever seen one on camera.
I've never seen one on this property.
I shooed one down on Jamie, flushed him down on Jamie last year. You got one.
Yeah, coyote.
I burnt some of the hair off of him.
Oh, was you shooting at him too?
I shot at him.
Yeah, Mikey was north of me, and it come through that pine thicket where we just put that new stand at.
Yeah.
It come through the pine thicket, come out in a plantation, and they got dirt rolled it.
I was laying back. I had the window zipped up on the blind because I knew the deer didn't come from that direction or whatever. And anyways, I looked back and I could see out one of the corners of the window, just barely see something standing there. And I was like, I know that ain't a deer. So I had to lean kind of awkward and turn in that chair because he was right on me, and tried to get him in the scope. And I thought I had him in the scope good enough, but I didn't. When I fired that shotgun, boy, I don't know how I missed him, but it barely missed him.
He knew he was shot at.
Oh, yeah. It laid his hair back. He was gone. He was looking behind him when he went by Jamie.
So, Mark, you got something new out here today that I had never seen never seen up close. Go ahead and tell us what you brought to camp.
Man, we're gonna try to do the little e-bike thing this year. See what it's all about.
What is an e-bike? Tell everybody.
So there's several brands out there, and I guess they all started as like electric mountain bike style, and then you got all these hunting companies like, was it Quiet Cat?
Quiet Cat was the first one I heard.
Quiet Cat was the first one, and then they got Rambo, and then there's several brands, but you can spend anywhere from $300 to $10,000, whatever you want to spend. I've been kind of interested in them, because we travel a lot, and a lot of the like campgrounds we stay in, it's something you can get around on. Plus, I'm like, well, heck, we'll try to hunt off one. And my buddy Jay up in Indiana bought one, and it really got me fired up then because he's like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. So, anyways, long story short, buddy ours, Brad Ward, he has the one that I'm looking at, which is what's the name of it? A Venton?
Venton, yeah.
A Venton Adventure. And it's a e-bike. It's got the fat tire on it, and it's not really this one's just like an off-road electric bike. It's not really meant for hunting, but it does a great job, and it's a good entry level. I think it's around $1,800, whereas all the other hunt ones are anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000. So I borrowed his, brought it down here to camp, see how it done on the hills, and give it a good test to see if it's going to be worth it. And well, needless to say, when I got off it a while ago, I just ordered one. So,
oh, you already ordered one?
I got one on the way. So
I don't think you can walk in somewhere quiet with that bike can come in.
It surprised me because I was like, I didn't know what to expect. Because like when you think of an e-bike, I'm thinking, all right, you don't have to pedal at all, and you really don't. But you do have they have different settings in them, like pedal assist. That as the more power you put out, the more power the bike puts out. And I was like, man, I just don't know if they're going to pull these hills down here. And I mean, you got to pedal a little bit, but it's not bad at all.
That's my concern with it. It's fine if you're on flat ground.
Yeah,
riding a bike, but how is it crossing a ditch or when you come across a hole you don't see in the field? Or
I would say mud hole has probably got the steepest hill, probably, and
on a gravel hill.
Yeah, and it's loose gravel. Like it's not an ideal situation. I mean, it's loose and it's a little choppy from the tractor going up and down it, so it puts you to the test.
My phone, it pulled up that.
It pulled up it.
Yeah, my phone showed about 18-degree incline, and I went up. I mean, I did do the pedal assist, but it was not like
you wasn't
putting out like you are on a Huffy 10-speed or something like that. You're barely pedaling.
You ain't fighting it to get up the hill.
No.
You actually got faster.
Yeah.
As you went up the hill, like when we come down that hill, you was kind of on the brakes. Then when you hit the flat, I could tell you wasn't pedaling. You hit the gas, and as you started up that hill, he started pedaling. Well, he left me. Like he started pulling away from me going up the hills.
Really? So it's got some torque to it. Then.
Yeah.
It's flat ground. That's something there's.
I got it to 38 miles an hour yesterday on the road.
Holy
and
smokes.
It feels fast as crap on that bike. You were rolling.
Did you have a crash helmet on?
No. That's what Emily says. Like, you got to get a helmet if you're going to ride down the road. I was like, I ain't worried about no helmet. We'll be all right.
So do you feel comfortable riding that to a stand or strapping your climber on and going out to the...
A climbing stand, it's going to be a learning curve. Like, I'm not going to say you're just going to jump on it, put all your gear in your rifle. Like, that's something you have to think about is like, how are you going to handle your rifle? I mean, they have like gun racks for them. They have everything that they do for a side-by-side basically, but for a bike. So my thinking is it already comes with a little back rack. I'm going to get the extension for it to where you can put your backpack on it. And then I'm just going to sling my rifle across my back or try the handlebar mount for it. I don't know which route I want to go yet with that, but I mean, I don't feel unstable. Like at first I was like, when I first got on it the very first time, it was the other night and it was 9:00 at night, pitch black dark. And I was like, I'm not finna try it right now. But once I've rode it a little bit, like it does not feel unstable. It does not feel like you're going, the front tire's going to slip out from under you in some of the loose grass or gravel or whatever. It feels fine. It feels stable. And I mean, I
could do a gun across my back. My climbing stand is probably 23 pounds. I don't know how comfortable that'd be on your back itself, but they got so many attachment accessories. You could put a gun scabbard on it. They've got the little cart you pull behind.
Yeah, they got a deer wagon.
See, that's what I was going to say. What if you're out 20 miles or I don't know what the range on one is, but if you're out and got to drag a deer and you get it back to the bike, can you get it?
So they make a cargo wagon that goes behind it that clips on and like it'll pull fine.
Did you order one of them?
Not yet. No, because there's a Can-Am. If I shoot one, y'all can come get it. It'll be all right. I'm just trying to sneak into the stand.
Stealth in.
So that's the point of it. Just faster than walking, but quieter than the side by side.
Correct.
So were in places you can't have motorized vehicles? Is that considered a motorized
can you have
vehicle?
those?
My understanding, and I could be completely wrong on this, but another reason I purchased this one is that it's a 750 watt motor. If you go above, that's like the legal limit. If you go above 750 watt, I think the next one up's 1,000 watt. Is like a lot of your national forests, a lot of your parks will not allow it because it's actually considered a motorized vehicle.
Right. So your WMAs, I would say probably 90% of your WMAs will not let you take a motorized vehicle in.
So once you get up above a certain wattage or power output is where they draw the line. So my understanding, the 750 watt or down, you can take anywhere. And I mean, check your state, check your rule books. I'm not going to tell you to go out and get a ticket, but I'm going to take mine wherever I want to go because I'm pretty sure it's legal 750 watt. But that's one reason I didn't buy a dual motor. And you can do research for days on this because this one here is a hub drive. It's a rear hub drive. They make a dual motor, which got motor front and rear, and the torque on them is way higher, but you get above that 750 watt. And then like a lot of your higher end brand is what they call a mid drive. So where your pedals are is where the motor is. So it's got a lot more torque there. So this is kind of a happy medium. It's not going to throw you off. It's not going to be intimidating, but it still has enough power to get you around comfortably. So I've been impressed with it so far.
How long the batteries last on that thing?
I think if you do straight non-pedal, just hold the throttle, like I think they tell you like 30 miles. If you do pedal assist, it's like up to 60 or 70. And I mean, I've rode almost 30 miles yesterday at the house and I was running, like we were running down the road going fast. And I mean, I burned probably 40-50% of the battery. So, I mean, it's pretty efficient. And like this morning, I mean, we rode all over the property and it ain't burned 5%.
So you just pick it up and throw it in the back end of your truck when you're going somewhere, or
Don't throw as easy as saying.
Yeah, they're about 70 pounds, so they are kind of heavy.
So it's got some weight to it.
So Brad's got a receiver hitch rack, and it actually, 5 minutes, you got that thing strapped down.
So I'm going to get a rack, go on the back of my truck.
Like a mountain bike, right?
Yeah, like a mountain. You pull it up on. It's like for dirt bikes is what it's for.
Okay.
And because I've already ordered mine, I'm going to order my wife one, and then we're both going to have them, and I'm going to get hers is back ordered right now, so I'm waiting it to come in stock before I order hers.
But this ain't something you buy to get in shape by no means.
Yeah.
Now, so that's another difference is, like, this one we rode today has what they call a cadence sensor. So if you're pedaling, as soon as you start pedaling and moving your feet, the motor kicks in. It kicks in full bore. It doesn't have any kind of gradual speed. So it just, as soon as you start pedaling, it takes over and you pedal to assist, but the motor's doing 90% of the work. The one that I ordered is the newer version. It has a torque sensor. So you can change how much resistance. So if you want to ride it like a regular bike, you can set it to do that.
Oh, then you can just pedal.
Then you just pedal.
You use more your energy versus
the
bike's
battery.
energy.
Or if you want the bike to take 90% over, you can change the level and it can do that. Or if you just want to do throttle, you can do that.
Now, does it recharge it as you pedal or
No, this
anything
one
like that?
doesn't.
It don't
No.
have that.
Some of them do. Some of them will do.
But like what I noticed on this one is like if you're running it hard, you'll watch your battery percentage drop, and then when you stop, it'll click right back up. So I think they call that like a voltage spike or something. They got a word for it, but
How's the brakes on it?
very good.
Do they
So it
work?
actually has hydraulic disc brakes just like a car.
Oh, really?
So I mean, it'll stop. I've been looking at a lot of different ones, and again, you can spend $300, you can spend $10,000. So
You know these things been around for like 40 years, right?
what?
These
Hunting
assist things, these hunting bikes. Y'all ain't never seen the one with the little weed eater motor on it?
Yeah, that don't make near as
Y'all
much.
didn't see those? Y'all don't remember those? You used to be able to pedal that and it had a little weed eater motor that was under the seat.
Yeah.
It is an older guy in town. You see ride his bike around. That's what it's got on
I
there.
have seen that with the jam box to play the music the whole time.
He got a
His
1980
e-bike.
Yeah, he's got an 80s model 8-track box.
Yeah,
on
but
it.
these are more like for hunting, though, that we're talking about. I mean, I know that. I want to know, Mikey, we need one with a sidecar.
Yeah, I need a sidecar.
They do
Or the
make a
three-wheel.
trike. They
The
do
trike.
make a
See, I
trike.
can see me on the trike. I don't tell you how long it's been since I rode a bicycle.
You did.
Probably
You did
30
take a spin
years.
around the house earlier on it. And I mean,
So what was your thoughts on it? You've never set foot on this one from 0 to 100. What was your thoughts?
It is. I mean, it's true. You never. I guess once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget. But it was. I mean, it rode as smoothest bike I ever rode. I mean, I had absolutely zero trouble.
Yeah.
Hopping on it, just riding around the yard here at camp. But that thing will roll. I mean, it's a big man like me. You know, it toted it. So
I don't think that
I don't know how comfortable I'd feel. I'd have to get more comfortable riding.
You wouldn't barrel off the mud hole hill?
Yeah,
on it?
just taking off through, fields and all that, just because I've flipped over handlebars before.
I was going to say, you asked that question a little while ago. Would it take a hole like that?
Yeah.
I think you better know what your
gotta
terrain
know it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have
So-
to be smart about it.
Yeah, so really, you probably want to stick to trails, and you ain't just fixing to barrel off through the woods.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I mean, it's just mainly if you're going to your stand, A, you know where you're going, and B, most likely you've either walked it or you've been in there because you put the stand up. So you know where that's a good fit and where it's not, And I mean, it's for us, I mean, we do use a side by side. We're still going to we're all not going to get e-bikes. So we're still going to use a side by side. So if you were riding by my stand anyway, I'm just going to ride on the side by side. But if I'm going to the back property, going past some of y'all, I don't want to blow y'all out. That's when I see this being a benefit.
I'm going to let you leave here on that e-bike, and I'm going to blow by you at about 30 miles an hour eating my sausage and biscuits. Just wreck your hunt.
But if you're going to the north fence line,
Yeah.
or say I was y'all go to the stand before I do, or vice versa. I mean, it has its place. And it's not going to be for every hunting club or every group of guys, but plus it's something else to ride on.
I think they're pretty cool.
I'm definitely interested in it.
I mean, so what do you think about turkey hunting on it, Mikey?
Yeah,
Could you see easing around, and you cover a lot of ground on it? I would say
Quick.
that.
I mean, because when you're riding on that bike, I mean, you don't hear, you can hear everything. So if you're trying to locate turkeys or something like that, and especially if you're in a place that's got, a good trail system or something like that, and you creep around on that thing, not make no noise, it'd
literally,
be excellent.
like today, the loudest noise it made was the leaves.
Yeah.
You're talking about, you don't hear nothing else.
Yeah. Quieter than the golf cart.
Oh, yeah. It's way quieter than a golf cart.
Yeah,
It don't have nothing. It's the only thing I've
Nothing's
seen.
rattling on it.
Yeah,
at
nothing
all.
rattles on it. The only thing I've seen is this one does have metal fenders, like mud flat fenders. And if it will pick up a rock or a limb, it'll ting, but I'm also going to take some of that underspray, undercoating stuff you spray on your truck, and I'm going to spray those just to dampen that. And then it's quiet.
That gets me thinking. That's a big controversy. Should you drive to stands, or should you always walk in? What do y'all think? About getting to a stand.
I prefer to.
How far should you?
It
I
depends.
don't want to get within a couple 100 yards of the stand. Me personally, I don't. Because when I ride the side by side, I don't even like crossing the ditch in the plantation field.
I don't either.
A lot of times I have parked that thing on this side if nobody was in, one of the other stands, and walked across that ditch and walked all the way over there to that stand.
What's your thinking on that?
Just quiet and, not really disturbing anything. And plus, I don't have it in the same area that I'm in. It's on the back side of the ditch. So if they did walk up on it or see it or get spooked by it or something, it's not right there in my field. Yeah.
If I know, for instance, we had a camera set up on Heartbreak, and we've had a good deer out there. I'm not fishing to run side by side off in there with it. I'm going to try to sneak off in there too, but in the same sense, if it's coming to pouring down rain, I'm not finna get out walking rain. I'm finna ride that side by side to the stand,
So I think it's do both ways. I think deer figure you out that you're coming to your stand, and then on the same scenario, as much we're down here working, the deer somewhat get used to
Noise.
hearing that noise.
I think it's got to be different on private property, right?
It's got to.
Because it's one thing.
This is so where my dad hunts. Every time I go with him hunting, I stop. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm stopping right here." Oh no, I ride another 300 yards. Daddy
Kills more than
kills a lot of
anybody.
deer, and in all honesty, I bet you he parks. Which Daddy's 70 something years old too, but I bet you he
parks within 50 yards.
Yeah, 50 to 100 yards from the tree, and he killed a deer last year that was literally, when it fell dead, all he done back side by side up and loaded in there. He pretty much turned it around and loaded it up. It
was right there.
It was that close to it.
I don't know how many I've seen. The deer went around and smelled side by side where I had it parked. Is a big buck, is it going to affect hunting a big buck? Probably.
Yeah.
If I knew that I had a sure enough buck I was hunting.
Yeah.
And but I'm probably not going to be in a box stand anyway.
Well, it goes back.
You know what I mean? They're smart. Yeah. Now, these young bucks, they don't pay attention to those side by side. I don't know how many times I've rode side by side, parked it right at the stand.
You're not out there parking in the middle of the food plot. You're at least You know, we have areas like designated.
specific-
hide it,
where it's
yeah.
kind of hid. It ain't just out in the open. But I mean, I've rode in, I parked, and I've walked 50 yards and or sometimes not even that far.
Well, you got to think about it
It's on
too.
the stand, you know.
My thinking too on the e-bike is it's quiet, and like you're saying, you're walking in, and in my mind, I may be completely wrong. In my mind, you're walking in, you're leaving scent where you walk. So, what's the difference in that scent spooking them and a side by side spooking them?
Are you going? So that's a good. Are you going to park the e-bike?
At
Are
the
you parking
stand?
side by side? You going
No,
to
I'm
drive
gonna
it
ride
all
it
the
all
way
the way
and
to
lean it
stand.
up? You're going to lean it up by the stand.
Lean
Because
it
you're
up
not
underneath
leaving
the-
a human
My thing
foot
is,
track.
I'm not with me not walking on the ground. I don't feel like that e-bike's going to leave my scent where I come in as prominent as it if you walk. And I may be wrong on that.
Oh, we're going to hose the tires down with some old tinks.
Oh no!
and-
Run the old deer drag on it behind it. Just drag it off, pitch it
You
out.
can do the
You get
same
about
thing with rubber boots.
200 yards out, pitch it out. Just
It's 100%.
You're still on that bike. Your scent is still getting laid
Yeah.
down. So it ain't no different than a pair of rubber boots walking across the ground. to me.
See, I don't
so,
know.
too.
Like,
See, I'm 100%. I'm like, y'all can say I'm wrong. You can comment what you want to. If Daddy's beagles can smell you walk rabbit hunting in rubber boots, you can't tell me that deer can't smell it.
I guarantee you they can.
I grew up growing up. Everybody's like rubber boots can't smell rubber, but I think any human scent passing through some is going to be louder and stronger than other scents. But I think they're going to still smell it. Is it going to stay there longer? I think a bike's going to be less long term scent
Yeah.
on the ground probably.
So so it comes down to it's just probably disturbing it less.
Okay.
And you think is it going to disturb it less than walking? So you think so, right?
depends on, I don't think so. Yes and no. Me thinking like if I'm walking, say I wanted to go hunt the pond stand, I can ride to it, but I feel like I'm not as aware of my surroundings getting to the stand to where, like, if I was walking up there, I probably, like last year, I walked up on that field full of does, shot and killed a doe. You couldn't do that on an e-bike because by the time you stop, get off the bike, them deer are gone, you know, so.
Accept that challenge.
Yeah.
Mount the gun to
That dude
handlebars.
strapped on the front.
So what I'm saying is, like,
At 350 with
if I'm walking
2-point
in,
sling.
I'm not rushing. I'm taking my time. I'll walk 20 yards, stop, look, you know, like you're more aware of your surroundings.
I think you need to pay attention to. We were going to talk about this anyways, but how you go in, how you come out. Like if you go in the morning times, like Jamie's talking about, Fate only hunts in the mornings. So when he goes in and parks that 4-wheeler out there, by the time he gets in the stand late in the morning, the deer really not moving around much. When he drives out, he probably didn't really spook a whole lot. But you go into, like, just say you went to plantation, you park that 4-wheeler under that stand, and there's 30 deer in the field. When you get down and you crank that thing, them lights, you're done. Them deer are gone.
Yeah. I can see that.
So I was actually listening to a podcast. That's what the guy was saying. He said that he would literally sit in a stand like wailing hours after dark if he knew, like you say right at dark, he's seen a good shooter buck come out. He would try his best to wait until that deer left or he thought it left instead of getting down and blowing it out. He said, "Does blow it out, man. They probably gonna come back anyway." But he said that mature buck that you're hunting that's 5 years old, 4 years old, and he said he'd do whatever he can do to keep from blowing that deer out, whether it's setting a stand longer or wait till it gets, just anything to keep from blowing it out.
I mean, that makes sense, but I still don't know if there's a way to avoid it.
No, there's
I've been
not.
in
At certain
stands.
times,
I
it
mean,
ain't no way.
No, I mean,
I've been
because
in
you think
stands
about that
waiting-
bottom that
yeah.
we hunt in over there, that sound carries. You can hear somebody ride in for 3/4 of a mile to a mile.
I mean, if I'm in a blind or something, I'm gonna make a little noise in the blind, not let them see a shape. Maybe fling the door. I mean, because they don't. I mean, they hear that stand banging all the time.
Acorns falling all
Yeah,
over.
I mean, there's always noises being made, and a lot of times I don't run them out of the field, but it never fails. You go to climb down, they're out there, they're gone. I mean, they're gone.
But we designed the fields this year to where in most of
We
the
got egress.
most of the stands that we have, not every one of them, but most of the stands we have, you can get out. If you had deer in the field, you can get down at dark and walk
slip
out. As
So
long
how-
as they didn't catch you wind.
How important is that with selection? Like, where you going to put I mean, it probably works for trees too,
Yeah.
but just say our box stands. Well, how important do y'all think it is to think about how you're going to get to that stand, how you're going to get out of that stand? I mean, is that something?
Well, in all honesty, probably this year is the first year we concentrated a little bit on it last year on plantation, but now, heck, pretty much all the pretty much all the stands that are in food plots has got some kind of cover to get in and out of the stand.
Well, we've always, for South Trump, like me and Mark started doing that, where we were cut it to where you can slip in there without and slip out without them ever knowing you're there.
I think the ability of you to get in and out of the stand without spooking or as easily as possible is more important than the actual, well, if I moved it 50 yards, that's in a better spot. I'd rather stay 50 yards where it's not quite in as good a spot and them not know I'm there versus go 50 yards. Oh, I might see more, but I'm more likely to blow one out. You know, I think it's more important you get to that stand without bothering a single animal versus being in just a little bit better of a spot.
Yeah, because when you hang a stand on a field, I mean, you don't want to put it right on top of where the deer are going to be at.
Yeah.
I don't either.
I don't want the deer walking under my stand.
Yeah.
I want them out, just, out a little bit. So if something like that does happen, I am able to get out, like Mark said, even with setting up in the woods or something like that, a ladder stand or something like that. Whether it happened last weekend, we hung a ladder stand. That other ridge over there looked so good. It was so much more open. But I really think that the deer, that's the reason.
Yeah, it was like 3 trails, coming through there. Yeah.
So we stayed back on this ridge that you can't really see that. You
and you
can't
can get
see
to that ladder stand really easy now.
You walk straight over the pond levee and you walk 50 yards and you get in it.
So you're thinking about that when you get ready to set your stand, or
always, because you got to think about how you come into that stand. What am I going to disturb? Where's the wind blowing to? We used to hunt stands. It didn't make a crap where the wind came from. And that was a mistake on my part doing that, because most of those days when the wind was out of the wrong direction, I didn't see very many deer, or I may not even see any. But when that wind was right, here come the deer. So
I've been busted more on wind, with smell on wind, than I have anything else. Being seen, making noise in the stand, riding to the stand. When the wind changes or they catch your wind, they're gone, because a deer can hear stuff and it's going to go on alert. And they might see something, they're going to stare at it. They're not necessarily, if you're not moving, they're not going to break and just take off most of the time. Those smart ones might. But when they smell you,
it's game over.
They're gone. It's
they ain't got to see you. They
ain't got to see you. And so I think that's probably the biggest factor is smell. I mean, there's days that the wind's blowing a certain way, I am not going to that to a certain stand. You gotta think about that. Like, it does you no good to be in some of our stands with a south wind. Oh, you can hang it up. A deer can't see one without it smelling you.
Even though you're in the box stand, there's still air that can get in or out of that stand.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm bad about leaving. I don't like the windows being up. Even when it's bad cold, I like all the windows to be down and open. But I've caught myself, like, the deer came from the wrong direction, or they came in the field down here where I know the wind's blowing, and I'd have to close up all the windows. And it might save me a little bit of time, but eventually they get me.
That is the only downfall to the new place over there. It's hard to hunt any of them stands on the south wind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's
just because we can only come in from the south. But
there's no good place. You can hang
I
it
know
up.
a lot of times you see on TV like, oh well, we're not hunting this stand because of this wind. This is how we're going to come in. Like, in real life, that's not always the case.
Well, you don't have 10,000 acres,
right? You don't have 10,000 acres. Like, we're trying to hunt 150 acres, 200 acres. You got to make the best of what you got.
I think it is important to have multiple, like, look and see where your winds typically are and set stands up when you get ready to put them up to where you got options.
Yeah.
Now, it might not work for a group of us. It's hard to have 4 different winds, four different people. That's a lot of different places to have to hunt. But most of them, if you got the opportunity, thinking about those wind directions and where they're coming from and where you want to hunt, that could be a game changer.
We spread our stands out. Some of them are spread out. Some of them are tight. You look at South Trump and Mark Plot stand, or what we call Mark Plot stand. Those two ain't what? They ain't 300 yards apart.
Yes, yeah.
But the ones around the ridge on the other, the deer you see on that side of that ridge, most of the time don't come in the fields on that other side. Yeah. They're going a different direction. So you're really hunting. You're hunting close, but you're not
seeing the same deer or on top of each other. For that part.
Oh, I'm sure we piss the purist off. It ain't no doubt. Like,
oh yeah,
it ain't no doubt we do. But we're your normal average Joe hunting camp. We ain't.
Yeah,
we're here to have a good time, fellowship, and all that, and make it. Hey, really, most of these stands we try to make it easy with the kids.
Yeah,
everything we think about, like, we've moved stands before. Yeah, they were great for us. We've seen more deer, but it's not a realistic stand for a child to hunt.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking about today. When we come through at Mudhole, I was looking at Mudhole today. I was like, I moved that stand down because most of the deer came into that field. That gives the kids just under a 100-yard shot, where we had it before. It was in a great spot.
Yeah.
But it was 150, 175 yard shot to the end of the field, you know, and I mean, Brady shot 3 times, missed a deer down there. Probably wasn't his fault, but, you know, still that was a stretch for Michael. That was a stretch for Will, you know, getting down that far, and it's right on the property line. I'm like, well, probably need to move the stand down a little bit so the kids could shoot from there. But now they're older.
We can move back.
That stand can come back.
Yeah.
We can actually put it further back.
Yeah.
The only good thing where it's at now is you can see in the woods a little
Yeah.
better, but I did like it better at this end of the field.
Well, because you could slip in it because it's right off the
You
road.
could drop you off at the road and you're there.
Yeah.
See, I messed that up. Our egress on that stand, you know, you cannot get out of that stand with deer in the field and not blow them
No,
off.
there's no way.
Because you walk across the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way.
But we made it easier for the kids. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes back to y'all like using climbing stands. Like you can find you a tree with a certain wind.
Man,
Go to
I've
an
almost
area.
cut a tree in half one time with a climbing stand.
Going around circles.
Yeah, wind kept changing. I kept moving around the tree.
I tell you, that is, if you could figure out a way, if you could find an app that told you what tree to climb, you could make millions.
Onyx don't do that yet.
Because it never fails. Like I've been in there pitch black dark, got a flashlight, man, you're looking up in a tree and man, that's a good one right there. I can see good. And you climb up and you can't see worth the crap at night anyway. You get up about 10 feet, damn, there's a limb. And get my knife out and saw it off and go on up. And they're like, all right, we're good. And it gets daylight and you can't see nothing. You might as well been in a closet. You can't see nothing from that dude.
You know, that was one misconcept that we were talking about that a minute ago about the putting the stands where you can't see so well. You know, a lot of people want to see 200 yards through the woods and stuff like that. Nothing's wrong with that. But I think a lot of people will skip those like really thick areas where you can find a tree to get in. I mean, a deer you can hear them, but you can't see that far, but you're kind of in there
with them.
You
want to be in a spot like that?
I mean, I've hunted in a spot like that. Now, it wasn't a bedding area, but it was just a transition area between where they bedded and some of the fields, but it was really thick, and they just used it to travel through. Well, nobody would hunt it. Everybody wanted to be out on the field. Everybody wanted to be in the open woods, and you know, we stuck a stand in there one time, and it was hard finding a tree, and you couldn't see crap. I mean, it was a spot no bigger than half of this house right here. That was as far as you could see. You could see 30 yards. That was it. But you could hear deer walking on you, and I killed a really good 9-point in there. I mean, I had to lean out of the stand, shoot him down, because I couldn't get, he was so close. I had to stand up and shoot straight down to kill him.
I had a spot like that on government land up in Coldwater. I mean, there was this one spot, all I could see was the legs. But I knew the deer wanted to be in there, so I had to move around, and it was so thick that the longest shot would have been 50 yards, but most of it was, closer than that to you. All you could do is hope to get in there, but the deer want to be in those spots.
Yeah,
so.
but that's the stands that you really got to think about, like wind and stuff like that. You do not want to go in there with a wrong wind in that scenario. And you go into those spots, you probably got to do a little work, get in there and not make a lot of racket too, so, choosing stand sites, stuff like that. It takes a lot of thinking. It ain't just sling it up. And I mean, you can sling one up and
hope for the best.
But if you put a little bit of thought in it, your end result is going to be so much better.
Well, I'm guilty of this. Is you get in there and like a climbing stand, you get one of them trees that's like a light pole. You can climb up 50 foot. You can see good. Well, the thing is, if you can see good, you can be seen good. So like you're playing that line, because like a climbing stand, you can't have limbs on the tree.
No.
Like you got to climb a bare tree if you're going to get up. Now you could climb up to where maybe it's a limb at 20 foot and you kind of use it as cover. But most time it's hard to get cover in a climbing stand. Same thing with a ladder stand. Like you can, if you had a pole saw, like me and you done that one year, we just knocked some limbs off and made an opening for that ladder stand to go in, and we had good cover, but you're also covered up. Therefore your visibility isn't as good, but the deer's not as likely to see you. So
some of the best trees that I like climbing, like if you're climbing in woods, if you can find like clusters of trees,
use the other trees to cover you.
You're kind of behind. You have to kind of peep around them to see out where you're hunting, but you're kind of blocked by that somewhat. And you kind of broke up more, But like Mark said, you and Jamie, you get in one of these scenarios where that's the only tree you got. You get up there in the climbing stand,
you feel like you stick
like
out
a corn dog on a stick
man.
sitting up there.
But going back to it, I've hunted plenty of stands growing up with Daddy that you wasn't 10 foot off the ground, and we watched deer all morning, and you ain't head high.
Yeah.
How high do you want to be?
Depends on the terrain.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say 90% of the time I climb a stand, I'm around 18, maybe 20
I'm 20,
foot.
25, I guess.
Used to.
That's high. That's too high for me.
That's that old butthole puckering.
And also it
there,
depends
boy,
on
you
if
get
the
up there
wind's
and got to
blowing.
turn around, boy.
Man, no.
You pretty tight.
Gravity works too well on me. Yeah, that
We're gonna have to do a little. Well, since we ain't got no stands on the new property, we're gonna do a little climbing stand hunting this year.
Gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. Jamie gonna order you one of them saddles.
I can't get into that. I'm sorry. I done jumped on the e-bike train. I'll be on the saddle next year.
That's what's next. You gonna have you some Sitka gear. You gonna have your saddle.
I mean, I'd wear Sitka if somebody wants to send me something now. I ain't gonna lie, but I ain't finna pay for it. Well, I'm ready. We're getting close.
It's close. We got Youth Weekend coming up. We'll be talking about that hopefully next week. Hopefully we'll have something on the in the freezer by this time next week. So we'll and then we got opening weekend behind that. So anything else you want to mention the?
Yeah, we got just a couple more weekends for the Arca Butler Physically Challenged Hunt. Like I say, anybody's interested, I got a couple people that's done helped out and donated. Talked to Rob yesterday. They're getting I guess call it the mess hall building. It's put up and hopefully get the wiring done this week and have a kitchen set up for the guys and gals coming up in a couple of weeks.
And then the other thing to think about too, I talked to a good buddy of ours, David Magnus, the guy that takes us catfishing. He's helping with Hope Outdoors, doing a cook for them too. So that's another option if somebody wants to be a part of. Just look up Hope Outdoors in Mississippi, and I think it's in where are they doing that at? It's down south, but I can't remember.
Yeah, south. We gonna actually try to
Kosciuszko, maybe. That's something like that. Anyways, it's south of us in Mississippi, but it's there's something else you can think about too. So
we might try to hit that one up and go help David cook or
we got to cook jambalaya for both of them. So
that's a good ones there. Yeah, Mikey, you want to tell them about the giveaways you got?
That's right. We talked about the giveaways last week. Let me clarify those. So we're doing 3 giveaways. We're not just doing 2. We're doing 3 giveaways. So I want your best harvested picture. It can be a unique deer. It can give you your biggest deer, whatever. We're going to give away a hat and a hoodie on that one. And then any kind of game cam picture you got that you think is unique or anything like that. It don't have to be a deer, really. No, it don't have to be a deer. It can be anything.
Be a Black Panther.
Oh, that's right. You got a Black Panther, you probably get a hoodie.
But how are we going? And what's the other? What's the third?
All right, so the last is going to be the biggest one. So we're going to send you one of everything that we have. Hat, hoodie. We're going to send you a little sausage seasoning.
Oh, you can make you some deer breakfast sausage. Heck
send you some T-shirts, a beanie, and we want your best deer camp recipe. Don't have to be wild game, just your best deer camp recipe. I need the ingredients, how you make it, and a picture of it.
Okay. And how? So where do they need to send all this to? How are they going to get this to us?
Well, I think we were going to create a support.
We got an email. It's
I think they were going
to Junkie Podcast at. Is it Gmail? I think Buck Junkies Podcast at Gmail.
Or you can go to the Facebook page and post it on there. We'll probably make a post on the Facebook page about this. Yeah. That way you can submit it that way if you do Facebook. If you don't, you email it in. But we'll have information on there on how to enter. How about that?
That'll work. Yeah.
But this is going to run for probably till Christmas or something like that.
Yeah, we're running till about Christmas time.
We'd like to ship that stuff out by Christmas, and then we might do another one for the second half of the season.
I'm interested in recipe.
I want to say, hey, the recipe, here's what I'm thinking on that. Somebody sends in a good recipe like that, and I guess we're all 4 going to judge it and pick a winner for these, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll need to get together and cook that recipe.
That's right.
And we'll do a video on that.
We'll recreate your recipe.
Yeah, we'll recreate that recipe here at Buck Junkie Camp and tell you how good it is.
If we all spit it out, then you probably ain't going to
win. Well, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. Y'all get ready for deer season now. I know you bow hunters have done been at it, but here comes our turn.
That's right.
So we're getting ready and we're excited here. And we'll be back next week to tell y'all how we did and talk more about deer hunting. We'll see y'all.
We gone.